pelvic floor engagement. So it's not only important to understand how to engage and contract your pelvic floor, but it's just as important to understand how to lengthen that as well. When we are doing too many contractions or too much engagement, it can cause a very tight pelvic floor, which can cause you some issues during pregnancy, possible pelvic girdle pain. It can just cause a lot of tightness in the pelvic region, which can cause you some problems possibly during labor, after, postpartum. You're finding yourself consistently contracting and lifting the pelvic floor, it is possible that you might have a tight pelvic floor, okay? So let's talk about how to lengthen and contract as we go. Oftentimes you'll hear the word Kegel referred to sometimes as like, lifting a blueberry. It's actually much more than that. It's deeper than that. So instead of just thinking this layer down here, I want you to think, when we're doing a Kegel, think pelvic floor all the way up. So pelvic floor, it's gonna start around in the front with your pubic bone, and it's going to attach all the way to your tailbone. So when we are engaging the pelvic floor, think about that contraction. So you're seeing my hands kind of do this, and actually one of my favorite cues is about the movies, that game with the claw comes down and it grabs like a stuffed animal and it pulls it back up. So think about that as your pelvic floor. Lengthening, coming down, contracting, it comes up. So let's go over some breathing techniques and breathing patterns, as well as pelvic floor engagement. Exhale, you're going to engage transverse abdominis and pelvic floor. We don't always have to engage the pelvic floor when we engage the transverse abdominis in exercise. That's going to vary from exercise to exercise. It's going to vary on person. It's going to vary on how you can contract and how you feel, and the amount of effort and energy and output that you need to perform your exercise, okay? The intensity of the exercise. So when you're doing a Kegel, or a pelvic floor engagement rather, you shouldn't see anything. You shouldn't hold your breath. You shouldn't see like the belly mover at all, okay? I'm going to do one and then I'm going to explain it. So I just lengthened my pelvic floor and I contracted it. So what we want to do, I like to hold my belly sometimes. It really just depends. You can do this standing, you can do this sitting, you can do this lying down. What you're going to want to do is inhale, send that breath down. So when we inhale, our diaphragm comes down, and when we exhale, our diaphragm comes back up, okay? So inhale, I want you to think, not breathing out, but again, just breathing down through the pelvic floor, okay? Again, remember that claw. And then exhale, I want you to think, pull the breath all the way up and out the mouth, okay? That's how high it's going to go. So that's often the misconception with the Kegel. The Kegel sometimes we refer to as like stopping the flow of urine, but it's much more than that. It's so much more beyond that. So again, we're gonna inhale, send the breath all the way down, exhale, pull it up and out the mouth. I'm lifting my pelvic floor there. I want you to practice some relaxations and contractions throughout your pregnancy. You can do it in the grocery store, right? Nobody is gonna know that you're doing it. We're not actively engaging the TVA on that. We're just simply learning how to contract and engage the pelvic floor.